Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial video for hovering on buttons in Python Tkinter. So if you look at this right here, okay, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so what this does is that whenever I hover on this button, it changes, and you can see this nice animation as well. It's like animation, like when you hover it, you can see the size of the button changes, and when you leave, it comes back to the default when you hover on it. So you can see this has been done using Python Tkinter, and I'm going to teach you how to do this from scratch. So without wasting much time, let's get back into the code. So let's get back to the code. So right now, if I come here, I'm going to import Tkinter. So from Tkinter, let's import asterisk. So root, I'm assigning my window to TK as well. So I'll give it a size. So root the geometry. So I'll give it a size of 500 by 500. Then I'll launch it using the main loop. So root dot main loop. Okay. So if I launch this page, you can see we have our window created nicely. So one thing is I also want to give it some background color. So come right here. So I'll say root dot config. So I'll say background. I'll give it a color of, so there's this color code I'll use, which is okay, so this color code, which is BFCC5. Okay, BFCCB5. So let me launch it again. So you can see there is this color that changes in the background. Okay, so next thing we are going to do is we are going to create our button now. So let's come down here. I'm assigning my button as btn or button. So button. So it definitely has to be on our root. Okay, so let's give it a text of so button. So font. Okay, so I'll give it the font of 20. Font, that's the font size of 20. Then okay, this has to be in a bracket. So open parentheses, right? Then we'll give it a background. Also, I'm going to use this color code. Okay, so they will give it a border size or border width of 0. Then I'll give it a foreground color. Also, so white color. Then I want the cursor to change to like hand. So whenever I put the cursor on it, we're going to have this hand that will show. So say hand 2. Okay, so if I launch this, okay, I need to pack my button. I need to place it on the window. So let's come here. So we'll say button dot place. So I have my X of 150. Like, leave some space here. Then my Y should also be 150. So let me launch it now. So you can see my button right here, but nothing is happening. So do that to it right now. So I also want to add one more thing to the button. Like, for example, when you click on this button, I don't want the color. You can leave it as if you want, but in this video, for me as per se, I want whenever I click on this button, I don't want the foreground and the background to change. I want it to remain the same. So to do that, I'm going to use the active background and active foreground. So in our button, I'll say active background. So two words, active and background, then you combine them. So active background. So I'm going to use the same background color I'm using for the button. For it, I want it to remain the same. So here, the one thing is the active foreground. So same thing, they have active then foreground. So two words combined. Then I'm also going to give the same foreground color here. So now if I launch this, you can see when I click on the button, the background of the button doesn't change. It remains the same as it is now. So that's what I was expecting to do here. So now we are going to work on the hover now. You can see whenever you put the mouse on it, nothing happens. So we are going to work on the hover. So right at the top, let's define a function. So right under this, let's define, so let's say on hover. So this function will be responsible for the hover. So this is the on hover. Let's say event. So we'll say, let's say event dot widget dot configure. Okay, so then here we are going to give, let me separate this so that I don't confuse you. Okay, so we'll give it the background. So this is the color we want it to hover whenever we put the mouse more down. So that's the background. So I have this color code in mind that I'm going to use as well, which is the 153462. Okay, so this is going to be for the background. They are going to define another function here. So we define on default. So this also event. So now what this function will do is that when we hover on the button, it will change to this. Then we'll remove the cursor to change back to the default as it was. So this function will be responsible for that. So let's say event. Let's just copy this. So event.widget.configure. Then we are going to give it the same background we are using. So just like I said, we want it to change to the default. So this is our default background. So we are giving it here. And also our default font, which is here. So for now, nothing will happen whenever you hover on the button. So we need to bind the button before something can happen. So we'll come down. So let's come right under this. So we'll define our button here. So button.bind. So I go to bind, say enter. So like what enter does, this will be responsible for whenever you insert the mouse to the button. This enter will be responsible for to bind the hover button and to allow you to change the color. So we say enter in the capital E, then we'll call our hover button. So we'll call our hover button. So it means this enter will bind the hover button to the button. So it means whenever you put the pointer on it, it will call the hover function, which will give you the hover color. Then we'll do one more. So let's copy this, then paste. So this one is going to be leave. Leave means, so just as the name, enter means whenever you put the mouse pointer on it, and leave means whenever the mouse pointer is out or whenever the mouse pointer has been removed from the button, then this will call the on default function. So I hope like it makes sense. So I think it should work now. So let's launch this and see. Boom. So as you can see, nicely done here. But there's one more thing. You realize that in the first video I showed you, whenever you put the mouse pointer, there's this nice animation that occurs. So it's just simple. How do you make the animation? Simple. If you look at our default, we are using a font of 20, font size of 20. So we want to slightly change the font size on hover. So it means when you hover, the font size will slightly change. Then they also give you that nice tiny animation that you saw there. So we just copy this. They will come to our hover function. They will paste it here. They will change this to like 21. So when you click it now you can see the magic now. Boom. See, whenever, or even if you make this like 22, it will just be too much. So I will make it like 23, but it will be too much, you know. You can see that is like too much. Doesn't look that attractive. So that's the reason why I need to add some, just like one step. Like, so the difference should be like something like 1. Then if this is like 10, then this has to be like 11. This is like 30, this has to be like 31. Like, so it depends on what you want anyway. But for me, like, I prefer it that way. So if you click on this, you can see this nice little animation here and the hover changes. So, and when you click on it as well. So this is for today's video. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more videos whenever I drop them. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.